Hey, it's Fabian with Fabulous Guitars. Thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to talk about dominant 7th bar chords. Now, hopefully you've watched the 5th string and 6th string bar chord lesson. We are going to take what we learned in that lesson and apply it to the dominant 7th bar chords. We're going to be looking at the 5th string and 6th string dominant 7th bar chords, along with a variation of this 7th chord that I use quite often. Now, when I play these chords, I am going to arpeggiate them so you will be able to hear the individual notes. And so this way we work on training your ear also. So without further ado, let's get to the lesson. Okay, so let's first look at the major 7th. So the formula for the major 7th is the root note, the 3rd, and the 5th. That's the major triad. And then it also has the 7th of the scale. Now, the minor 7th uses the minor triad, which is the root note, the flat 3rd, and the 5th. And then for the extension, it has a flatted 7th. So the formula for the dominant 7th is the minor triad, the root, the 3rd, and the 5th, and then the extension is the flatted 7th. Now, that makes it major and minor. Whereas if you listen to the 5th string bar chord lesson, I had mentioned that the power chords are neither major nor minor. But the dominant 7th is actually both major and minor. And that's what gives it its distinct sound. So let's learn how to play these puppies. So the 6th string dominant 7th bar chord is going to be based upon the E. So if we remember, the way that you make the formula for the dominant 7th is the root note, the 3rd, and the 5th, your major triad, and then the flatted 7th. So that means we can go ahead and take our E major and we're going to add the flatted 7th. Well, what's the flatted 7th? Well, the easiest way to find out what the flatted 7th is take the root note and go one whole step flat. So the root note of the E major is the E. Exactly. And so one whole step flat of that is the D. We have an E right here. There's a D. So it's one whole step flat is the D. So it just so happens the E major actually has 3 E's in it. It has the open low, it has the E on the 4th string, and it has the open E, the high E. And so we're going to borrow one of those and we're going to change it to a flatted 7th. Well, it just so happens if we lift our finger on the D that's on the 4th string, there's an E, D. So all together, all 6 strings, there's your E7. Now, if you wanted to propagate that down the neck, okay, so here we are. Here's the E7. Now, to make the F7, remember, we're going to bring in our bar and just shift it one whole step. And then there's your F7. And then slide it down to get your G7, A7, B7, C7, D7, and E7. There you go. Now, as far as this chord specifically, I like to actually plop my finger down right there. In this case, let's use the A7 as an example. So there's your A7, and if we were to add the flatted root note, and we get, here's your A, and then one whole step flat is your G. So we're going to add a G to it. And it just so happens we have a G right chill. So all together, you know, press down that your pinky. And that's how lots of times I play the A7 like that, because it emphasizes that note. So there you go. That's your 6th string dominant 7th bar chord. Now, the 5th string dominant 7th bar chord, well, let's start off with the A major. The root note of that is going to be the A, exactly. Now, we need to add a flatted 7th to this, and it just so happens that this has 2 A's. There's your open A on your 5th string, and then there's your A on your 3rd string. We're going to use one of those, and that's where we're going to add our flatted 7th. So 1 whole step flat of the A is a G. There's your A. There's your G. All together, starting from the 5th string down, there's your A7. Now, if we wanted to start moving it down the neck, okay, so this is our A7, bringing in our bar. There's your B7, C7, D7, E7, F7, G7, and A7 as the octave. So there you go. Dun, dun. Now, there's actually a different way of playing the dominant 7th chords that I actually use. I do use the 6th string bar chord, but I use a variation, and I'll show you how to do it after a word from our sponsor. A word from our sponsor is me, Fabian, Fabulous Guitars. Thanks for sticking around. This is the time where please like, subscribe, comment, ring the little bell. Thank you. So, there's actually a dominant 7th chord that I use over the 5th string dominant 7th bar chord. It is a dominant 7th. However, I use the one that is actually based upon the C7. So let's see how do we gonna figure that out. Okay, so there's your C major. We need to add the flatted 7th. The root note is the C, and so 1 whole step flat of that, we have a C right here, is a B flat. So we have a B flat that we can add right here. So there's your C7. Now, I only play those 4 strings, the 5, 4, 3, and 2. Now, specifically with the C7, you could actually play all 5, but after that, I wouldn't use your open E after that. So, there's your C7, D7, E7, F7, G7, and then the octave at A7. Now, the reason I like playing it like this, because look where my ringer is. It doesn't ever move. We have a 6th string, then we go down to a 5th string, and then the 5th string. And see, that ringer, it's there. It's not going anywhere. So it didn't move anywhere. So that's why I prefer that over the bar string version of the dominant 7th, the 5th string dominant 7th bar chords. So there's that. Hopefully that brought value to you. I'll see you next time. Adios, hasta luego.